Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Had a great time talking to the awesome Brooke Mayo. I hope you guys enjoy the segment and interview. Hey, Brooke, how's it going? This is Dave.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. All right, Brooke. So you've had like a lengthy combined amateur and pro MMA career. How do you deal with like nerves and pressure leading up to like either an MMA fight or like a BJJ match?
You're saying like the difference between like getting ready for the jiu-jitsu versus MMA, or just in general, like any competitions, how do I get ready?
Yeah, like either or. I'm sure there's like differences, but how do you like mentally prep for like the anxiety? Do you get like nervous?
Yeah, like it was funny because I would get really, really nervous, like my amateur career especially, because I didn't have any prior experience in like combat sports or martial arts. So I would get really, really nervous, and then you could see like when I'd fight, like I would fight like really like come out in the first round like crazy, and then after like. I mean, I did have 14 amateur fights, so after, like, I want to say, like, the 5th or 6th one, and then I did some jiu-jitsu tournaments, like, I actually kind of, like, stopped getting nervous, which is weird, just because I think I just had so much, like, I got into such a rhythm of competing, it just felt normal after a while. And then I want to say, like, right before my pro debut, like I wasn't nervous at all. Like it was weird. I woke up like it was a normal day, and then but the nerves hit me when I walked out and saw how big the crowd was. I was like, oh crap! Like, and I felt like it's more like I'm sensitive to I want to say like I don't know, it sounds like a hippie, but I'm sensitive to energy. So like I felt that energy, and I was like, whoa! Like it wasn't even hearing the sound; it was just feeling the vibration and being in the SAP center. So before like. I mean, like, I like to meditate. Like, before I started training martial arts, like, I'd meditate, visualize. And, like, I kind of just visualize the good and the bad. Like, I look at, like, best case and worst case scenario. Because I feel like if you only look at the good stuff, then you're going to be, like, kind of shell-shocked if you get put in a bad position when you get in there. So I think about, like, best case scenario, worst case scenario. And I think training with the people I train with has helped that too. Because I train with a lot of men, so I get put in bad situations a lot of the time because I'm just physically like not at the same level. So I'm like, okay, like it could be like this, or it could be like this best case scenario, or it could be like this worst case scenario. So I always just try to like think about everything when I go in there, and then just. My dad also gave me this book when I was growing up. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis. So that's a sports psychology book. It's not just about tennis, but it's about sports psychology and how to deal with mistakes. Like once you're in a game or in a match or in a fight, how to like kind of take that mistake and just throw it out the window and keep moving. So those things I feel like have helped me like mentally prepare for certain situations. Like I'm not perfect and like every day is different. So I try my best though to just put myself in like an emotional state, like more just business, like hey, like I don't feel any type of way towards this person, even if I don't like them or have beef, or you know, maybe I like them too. Like that's a hard thing to deal with. Do you kind of like the person you're fighting, or do you like the person you're going to compete against?
Do you find that
kind of have to just?
I'm sorry, Brooke. I'm sorry. Do you find it more difficult to compete against somebody that you like versus someone that you dislike? Because I'm sure it could throw your game off.
Yeah, like I mean, like I said, I've gotten a lot better of like kind of removing myself from the emotional part of it. But it is a little bit harder, like to want to hurt somebody that you know you are friends with. Like I competed against a girl for Fight to Win Pro. She's a brown belt, and I had trained with her before, and I really liked her as a person. And I was like, oh, this is so weird, you know, like I want to submit her, and I want to like, you know, win in a devastating way, but at the same time, it's like shit, like I really like her.
Yeah.
And I really like, at the weigh-in too, it was like super hard because I'm like trying to be like professional, and she's like, hey, like give me a hug. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hug her back, So
Yeah.
it is, I think, a little bit harder when I like the person, but then again, there are people that will play that game of they want you to get comfortable with them, so they're gonna be a little fake with it. Like I've seen guys do this before, where they'll, like, oh, hey, what's up? What's up, bro? Like, and they don't know the person, but I think they're trying to, like, kind of, like, trap them in that web of, like, friendship almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Get caught off guard, So I try to just, like I said, the beforehand, like, the weigh-in is different than the day of the fight. Like, the day of the fight, I just try to go blank in my head about all that stuff. So that's kind of something that's helped me prepare, is just, like, this is business. It's not personal, good or bad. And I have a job to do, and like they're in my way.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it.
No, that's a really smart approach. There was like a UFC event that just took place, and I'm sure you saw it or heard about it. It was a Walt Harris versus Alistair Overeem, and I was thinking about like him, like Overeem, like having to compete against Walt Harris after the whole situation with his daughter. And it's like, yeah, you got to like shut things off. And it's just a job, like you said. And afterwards, you could be cool and hug and everything,
Yeah. And that's why, like, a lot of people, like Nate, for example, and Nick, like, they don't shake hands before the fight. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's disrespectful, it's bad sportsmanship. But really, it's tactical. Like, you don't want to get comfortable touching somebody.
Yeah.
Or like feeling like I said, some type of way about them right before you're about to go in there. And, they have bad intentions for you. You have bad intentions for them.
Yeah. But
it's not a personal thing. It's not like, oh, I hate you, I want to hurt you. It's more just like, hey, I need to hurt you to get paid.
Right, yeah.
And, it's like, it's at the end of the day, it's business. And I think a lot of people, especially as the sport evolves, like, I think a lot of people forget that. Especially on the women's side of things, I've noticed, like, girls take things very personally, like, because I will say stuff, like, hey, like, I want this fight or I want that fight, and people take that very, like, personal and, like, take it almost as, like, disrespect. And I'm like, if anything, like, I feel like if someone calls me out to fight me or to compete against me, I take that as, like, the utmost respect, because I'm like, I know what I bring to the table in terms of the excitement factor.
Yep.
Am I perfect? No. Do I have a perfect record? Hell no. I came into this, I came into the sport from a completely different sport. So I know I have a lot of learning to do, and, like, I'm still, like, growing in terms of, like, my fight IQ and my skill set. But when I call people out, it's not, I hate you or I don't like you. It's more like, hey, this is business. Like, let's get paid. Let's get the fans what they like, because right now, like I said, there's a lot of politics going on. There's a lot of things that are changing and evolving in the MMA world, and sometimes you don't get to see as exciting of matchups anymore due to those facts, due to the fact that, oh, I can't fight this person because this and this reason, or like, people make up whatever excuse they want to make up to not fight people, but like, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, stylistically, what's the most exciting matchup we can put together? And that's all it should really be based on, not feelings, not, he said, she said.
Yeah.
It should just be based on, like, stylistic matchups,
Agree with you. Just to touch on one thing about Nick and Nate Diaz, like, for the flack they get online about that's just silly, because I've never seen them disrespectful after a fight. They're so, like, cool, and, like, they give their opponent, like, respect. I remember when Nick fought Frank Shamrock, he, like, held him up. He was calling him a legend, super cool. But Brooke, I wanted to talk to you about your first, like, martial arts experience, your first training, and, like, why did you get into martial arts in the first place?
So, like, when I was younger, like, I want to say my interest sparked, like, when I was, like, 13. My dad and I watched boxing, and we watched MMA, and, like, I would watch, Ultimate Fighter in high school, like with Rashad Evans and Kimbo, or not Kimbo Slice, Rampage Jackson. Kimbo was on the episode too.
Yeah.
But I remember like watching like all those, fights, the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I really loved Chuck Liddell a lot. Like
Chuck was the man.
Like, one of my favorites. Yeah. And I just was a big fan like when I was in high school. So I played soccer, and that was like kind of my life like commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to college and played and everything. When I got injured and like couldn't really continue with my career, so it kind of like put me in a weird space of like reinventing like who I was. So I did some yoga, did like long distance bike rides and all this stuff to try to like kind of recover from my injury. And then one day somebody was like, hey, like maybe you should try JiuJitsu. And I was like, what? Like, what's that? Like, and then I was like, oh wait, like I watched MMA, like it's big grappling, that's cool. Maybe I could like try it and see how I do. So my first training experience was in Dublin at House Gracie's gym. And he was actually my first day coach. Like I went in there and like it was a morning class, so like there was no one in there at all. And I walked in the gym and he was like standing there, and I'm like, hey, like I want to try jiu-jitsu. He was like, okay. He was like, put this on. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like I was like, what are these pajamas? I was like, all right. So I put the gi on, and then like within the first, like I want to say like 2 training sessions, like I was completely like hooked. Like,
that's awesome.
Twice. Yeah, like I would go like I was in college still, it was my senior year, so I would go twice a day. I would like literally go to the 11 a.m. class, drive back to school, take my classes, and then drive back again for the night class.
Wow.
And I did that for like months. So I really loved it like right away. I mean, I was awful, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I really had an answer for anything people were, doing to me, but that's why I kind of liked it in a weird way, because I like challenges. Like I'm not one of those people that gets discouraged if I don't pick it up in the first, couple weeks. Because I played soccer at like a high level, so I do know how many hours it takes to become, proficient in a skill. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this. Like, I'm pretty like stubborn about it. Yeah. So I really enjoyed it a lot. And he was like a really great coach, because he, very traditional Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, like that's like pretty much the highest level of Jiu-Jitsu training you could really get.
Right.
So I was really lucky to have him as a coach in the beginning.
That's awesome. And it's crazy, like the psychology also, like, because I got some training in MMA and stuff like that myself, and I've grappled, and it's like an ego thing sometimes, where like some people can take not being good at something and then they'll come back and try to get better, and some people just like avoid it. Like it's like a humbling experience, I think martial arts it's a great thing for everybody to experience. I think you need to be humbled like that. But Brooke, so what do you prefer to compete in? Mixed martial arts or BJJ? Like what's more fun to you or fulfilling?
Honestly, I love MMA. Jiu-Jitsu is something like I'll do forever. Like I'll compete in like Masters 10,
Yeah.
I feel like I'll always like love Jiu-Jitsu because it was my first martial art that I ever trained. But I feel like MMA is like extremely fulfilling to me, just because I feel like the mental toughness aspect is a little bit different. Like obviously jiu-jitsu, like you have to be extremely mentally tough to do that, and you do still get nervous for that, but I feel like MMA in terms of like the sport as a whole is like extremely humbling. You know what I mean? And I feel like it takes a special type of person to be able to like be willing to go in there and like get punched in the face.
Yes.
Like, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys can't make the transition,
Yeah, no, it really does. And it's like it's not like a total bad thing either. Like I understand what you're saying. Like it takes a special type of person to go in there and even in training, like to just take that punishment and enjoy it and then come back. That's so funny. But there's so much to like mixed martial arts to like learn. So I'm sure like with the way your brain works, like how like BJJ intrigued you, the complexity and everything, like with everything with MMA, that's probably like what sucked you in too, right? Like all the things you have to learn and get good at.
Yeah, like I think that I think I like MMA too because there is a little bit more of a creative element to it. Like JiuJitsu, you could be creative, but like at the end of the day, like there's these moves and you don't really deviate. Like it's not like you can invent like a whole new move. People try to say they do, but they all stem from like the same moves, the same transitions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like chess. But I feel like when it comes to MMA, you can throw strikes and things that are very unorthodox and you can mesh it all together, and like I feel like there's more combinations, and I think there's a lot more room to be creative, like, you know, on the feet, on the ground, you know, like there's just so much more you can do with it. And I think too, like a lot of people, sometimes it's funny to me, like I hear people say like, oh, you throw this kick wrong, you know, and I'm like, well, yeah, like in Muay Thai it would be wrong. In MMA it's not necessarily wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and so it's funny because you have people from like very strict disciplines and backgrounds come in and say this is wrong. Like a wrestler's gonna look at my shot and be like, that's wrong for this and this reason. But then it's like you see me in a fight and I hit the takedown and get it, like it's like, well, was that wrong? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If I pulled it off, is it wrong technically? Like, I get what you're saying, like from a certain discipline's perspective, yeah, that's completely wrong and it looks bad or whatever. But and that's what's cool about MMA, you could make it work and you can adapt it to that sport pretty easily. So and like I said, I'm still learning, and I think it's cool. Like, you see a lot of fighters evolve a lot, like, over the years. Some fighters don't, like, but a lot of fighters do. Like, Gaethje, for example, he evolved a lot in his last fight against Tony. And, like, it was a lot mental of a, you know, mental thing, too, he explained in his post-fight speech. But I think, too, like, you know, he made adjustments, like, based on, you know, based on like what was working and what wasn't working for him in fights, but he still like kind of still has his own style. So I think that's why I like MMA, is like you can have your own style, you can make adjustments, you can evolve, but like there's not as strict rules and regulations in terms of like the formula of how to fight.
Right.
So that's why I kind of like it. It's just more expressive. It is more of an art form, you know? Like, you can't tell Picasso, oh, you're painting wrong.
Yeah.
Like, people tried to say that. You know, I'm sure when he first started painting, like, that's wrong. You know, you're not sticking to this, like, these aesthetics or, you know, this style. This is wrong, you know? And it's like, it's actually not wrong. It's beautiful, you know? So,
yeah.
That's why I like MMA a lot.
Yep. You know, I get what you're saying. It's funny, like, when I used to spar, like, my coach used to always, like, people would be like, oh, you got your hands down and da-da-da-da. And my coach is awesome, but he used to always tell me, you know, I don't really care, like, what you're doing as long as, like, when you engage, like, then your hands come up. So, like, if somebody like Michael Venom Page or Anderson Silva listened to, like, the traditional way to do things, they probably wouldn't have been as good as they are, you know, with the whole flowing and doing it the way what works for you, like how you touched on. But, Brooke, the biggest obstacle you've ever had to like overcome in your life, if you're willing to share that.
Yeah, like definitely I think losing my soccer career, like to my injury, like that was probably like my biggest challenge I had to overcome. You know, because like it wasn't only like a physical injury, but I felt like the depression that came with that was pretty real. Like it really messed with me. Like, and I was very young. Like I was like, I want to say 17, 18, 19 when I was dealing with all that. So, and like, you know, it's funny because I had a professor that had talked to me about it. He's like, you know, you're basically like suffering like a major loss right now. And you're like trying to deal with, you know, the stages of, you know, sadness that come with that. Like, you know, first it's
like losing a person, right?
Yeah, like, you know, and because I had like, since I was 5, I played soccer, and like I really committed like my whole life to it. I had goals and dreams to be pro and like go, play abroad. And I played semi-professionally with some of the best players in the world. So it was like a really, it was a really hard fall for me. So I think that was like something that was really big. And then also the type of injury I had was so rare. Like they couldn't really explain to me like how to get better, and that's what was frustrating too, because I was willing to do whatever it took, like whatever rehab, whatever medication, like whatever therapy program, I was willing to do it. But they were straight up saying to me like, we don't know how to treat this right now. Like, we're really sorry.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it was scary. And like when you're 18, like you're like, I don't know if I'm going to walk again. Because I had chronic exertional compartment syndrome, which is where your muscle gets too big for the fascia. And a lot of people suffer like nerve damage.
Wow.
I did suffer from nerve damage in both of my legs. You also like, sometimes like my feet, I lose feeling in my feet. So there's a lot of things that happen with that. Like I went from being like, top 3 runner on the team to like not really being able to run very well. Like I'm able to run and I've recovered for the most part, but it's definitely not the same as I used to be like prior to the injury.
Right.
So I think that was like the biggest challenge, was like, okay, like now you've lost something that was like a main part of your life. Like how are you going to deal with this physically? Like how are you going to deal with the anxiety of the unknown, of hey, I don't know what I'm going to be like in 10 years from now. How are you going to reinvent myself, because that was like my identity. So that was like a big challenge. But I think after like I kind of mourned like the loss for like I want to say a couple months, I like didn't do anything. Like I was like didn't work out, and for me that was like not that was very abnormal for me. So after like not working out for a long time and, being really sad, I just was like, I'm done with this. Like I'm done with the pity party. Like I'm done with like feeling sorry for myself, and I'm just going to have to like find a new way,
Yeah.
So, that's what JiuJitsu helped me with, was like giving me like a new outlet, helping me like, redirect like my focus to something positive versus focusing on like what I didn't have. I'm like, oh, like I can't run for 2 hours, but I can do jiu-jitsu for like 2 to 4 hours every day, no problem,
Wow.
So that's what was really cool for me.
Yeah, and like your accomplishments, is like a testament to like your mental toughness and like fortitude. In 2019, you placed 3rd in the World Jiu-Jitsu No-Gi Championships, right? That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't get first. Obviously, I'm super competitive.
Yeah.
But like it is a big deal. Like it was a pretty stacked weight class. Like Sarah McMahon was in there with me. I really love her.
She's a beast.
The girl that I lost to, I only lost to her by 2 points, and it was a very small mistake, and she ended up winning the whole thing. So it was one of those things where I was like, okay, like I'm really not that far off.
Oh,
like,
absolutely not.
It's like a good like reality check, and like I said, it's a humbling experience. Like, hey, like at the end of the day, it's good to do things like that, because you can really just figure out like where you really are in terms of like certain skills. Like I there's been a lot of things I've been working on with my coach Randy Spence, and like I was never comfortable being a guard puller. And then I started pulling guard and really executing a lot of the techniques we've been working on. So, like, in itself, like, that's a big win. Like, I'm more versatile now. I have, like, more tools now than I ever did before. So, like, there's a lot of positive that came out of it. But it's a humbling experience, because I went from a soccer background, which is a team sport. Like, oh, so-and-so didn't pass me the ball, like. You can kind of sometimes make an excuse. Like here, it's like you can't really do that. Like it's like an individual sport where you're like, shit, like
it's all on you.
I have to watch that film back and look at the fact that, oh, like I ended up going on bottom. I should have stood up and come on top and gotten my 2 points, So that's why I like it too. It's very like, it's very real and it's very honest, and you can't make an excuse. I mean, a lot of people still do, I'm sure, but I feel like for me, it's good for me to be like honest with myself and to be objective and like look at my fights and look at my competitions and be like, hey, like you know, even in my pro debut, it's like, hey, look, you were like one shot away from like finishing the fight, you know, or, you know, one move away from submitting the person. So how do you fix that? You know what I mean? How do you move forward versus like, oh, I quit, I lost, I quit, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think you definitely learn more from failures and losses because they, you know, like you touched on, like it tells you what you have to fix, you know, and then you just come back better. So is that like a goal of yours to place first?
Yeah, for sure. Like every tournament I do, like I always want first. Especially like the IBJJF, it's nice to place first. It matters with your ranking. I just hate losing. Like I honestly like. I'm one of those people like I walk away and I like will think about it for like weeks. Like I kind of like overthink it. But I always want to place first, just because I know like I am so close and I am capable of, you know, being in first place. All of my losses, like, you know, there's been a couple where I just straight lost, you know, but I feel like most of them, like, I lose by, like, very small margins or by, like, kind of dumb technicalities. So, which is almost more frustrating sometimes because I'm like, oh, my gosh, it was, like, literally, like, seconds away from going the other way. But
Yeah.
That's the beauty, I guess, of the game and of the sport is just like, hey, look, it comes down to like not even inches, but centimeters sometimes and seconds.
Right.
So it just motivates me to like keep training and just get better technically and just be more focused. You know, like you said, each loss kind of like refocuses me to a new topic that I need to work on, a new area. So I'm kind of happy in a way I'm dealing with all this now, like in the beginning of my career, because I see a lot of other people, it's the opposite for them. They have a very easy, like, journey in the beginning of their career, and then they face their first challenge, and they kind of crumble. Like, you've seen that with a lot of people with, like, quote-unquote perfect records. Like, they don't really get served challenges right away. Like, they kind of get babied a little bit, and then when they finally reach their first real challenge, they kind of fall apart mentally, and then it's like they don't want to just bounce right back and get back into it. So I think it's good that I'm facing like top level competition so that when, you know, in the next couple of years, I feel like it'll be more, you know, my time because I've got these experiences out of the way.
Yeah. I get what you're saying too about, I'm not like, you know, there's people that they have, I don't know if, you know, padded records, but I know exactly what you're saying. Once they hit like, you know, real adversity, they do crumble. And, you know, like you said, it's really good that you're facing tough competition early on. But Brooke, so what drives you like in your combat sports career? Is it like big paydays, money, or is it like the glory and the challenge, like just being the best? I think you kind of answered that.
Yeah, like I like the challenge, like the glory. I'm not gonna lie, like in the middle of my career, like I feel like right after like I did all the free fighting as an amateur, I feel like I kind of part of the reason like my mind and heart weren't in the right place was because I did want the payday. I was like, you know, I put my time into my amateur career. I fought for free. I fought hard. You know, I put a lot of hours in the gym. Like I want to get paid now, and I want to just be a full-time fighter. You know, like that was really what I wanted, and I guess that's why I wanted the payday was so that I could, you know, train full time and like do what I really love, you know, and stop working the part-time jobs and the crazy hours. Like, there was a lot of times like when I fought as an amateur, like I got a head kick knockout and like I had to fly like a 14-hour day the next day as a flight attendant. So it was kind of like
wow.
It was like bittersweet when I was an amateur. So that's why I think like when I went pro, like I put too much pressure on myself to like make those big paydays. I was like, oh, I need to get paid. I need this. And it's like, no, I just needed to like focus on, you know, like my love for the sport, and then the rest would, you know, follow. I think if you treat it like a means to an end, that's where like, you know, your priorities kind of get screwed up. And I learned that the hard way. You know, I was like, I think that's what I put too much pressure on myself mentally. Like I was like, I have to win versus like, you know, I'm going to win. It's going to be fine. So I like I said, I think taking the time to like slow down and think about those things and like be honest with myself about those things was good for me. But yeah, now I just am like, who cares about the payday? Like, obviously, like, there's times where I'm like, hey, like, don't take advantage of us fighters. Like, there are some promoters out there that, you know, they'll be like, hey, you want to fight for $200? I'm like, bro, my medicals are going to be like, you know, 3 times that. Like, to be fair, you know?
Right,
like, I don't think you should be unfair to fighters, and I don't think promoters should listen to this and be like, oh, well, Mayo will fight for, you know, nothing, because that's not okay. Like,
no, it's not.
I said, I know what I bring to the table, but at the same time, I'm not expecting like a $50,000 check. You know?
Right?
So
yeah.
I don't expect. I don't have huge expectations, but I have been given some purses and some things where I'm like, dude, like, I can't even cover my travel expenses or medicals with any of that.
Right.
And I know what you're making on ticket sales. I know how many people are going to tune in and watch this if I post it. So, like,
yeah,
you have to treat people right. And I think sometimes because people know, like, I don't have big representation, they do try to kind of like get over on me, and that's where I'm like, you know, I'm going to just take a step back and have a standard at this point.
Yeah.
You have to have somewhat of standards. Like I said, I'm not trying to big league and act like I'm worth a ton of money, but at the end of the day, it's like I do have to eat, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have to pay for my medicals and travel out to wherever the location is to fight, and like I know I bring an exciting fight to whatever promotion it is. Anytime I've competed in jiu-jitsu or fought, it seemed like it's kind of blown up a lot. And I've been promoted, like, you know, by Flow Grappling and Fight Pass and a lot of like well-known promotions. So I'm kind of like, hey, like I said, be a little more fair to me if you're going to use me and promote, you know, your show and use me as like the main poster. Like, give me a little bit of, you know, give me a little bit more than that.
You don't have to drop names or anything like that, but I mean, have you had like insulting offers, like where you just kind of like, are you out of your mind? You know?
Like, yeah, like, I mean, I won't name any names, but it's like $300, you know, to fight in 2 weeks' notice. Or like $400 or $500 to fight on 3 weeks' notice.
That's crazy.
Like,
yeah.
And they know I'm desperate because I love to fight, and that's what sucks. Is like it's this game of like playing on somebody's emotions and someone's love for the sport. It's like I said, I don't think I'm worth a shit ton of money. I know promotions do have a hard time promoting shows and selling tickets, but at the same time, if you're gonna throw me, and they want to throw me as the you know, I want to say, like, what's the, you know, the main fight?
Like a main event, or like the showcase fight.
Yeah, I'm like, you want to put me as a main event on the main card, and you want to give me $300 or $400 or $500.
Yeah,
and I don't get percentage of ticket sales because it's not my hometown. You're trying to feed me to whoever, which I'm fine with because I'm always trying to be fed to whoever. You know, like that's not the problem with it. It's just the problem is like, hey, look, like, you're not even going to throw it. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I get you.
Things where it's like they're not trying to take care of you at all. Like they just are like, ha, Brooks doesn't have anybody that has her back right now, so we're just going to take advantage and capitalize. Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of like, it just, and also ask me to cut a ridiculous amount of weight and are not willing to compromise on that, which I've expressed before. Like my weight class has changed. Like I want to go up to 35, and I'll do catchweights at 30. And people, I don't know what it is with maybe the opponent or whatever, like they're like, you know, 125 or nothing. And I'm like, you're giving me 3 weeks. Like, how am I supposed to make? And it sucks because, like, you know, there was one fight I was supposed to do, and I'm not going to name names. I won't name the promotion.
Right.
They'll probably guess when they see, but it's like, I negotiate. I'm like, come on, dude, like, give me at least like 2 pounds or something of wiggle room. They're like, oh, her camp, no. They said no. I tried cutting the weight, and I'm a week out, and I'm like, look, I'm going to be honest with you, and that's the thing. I was like, I'm being hella honest about my weight right now. I'm really not going to be able to make it. And I'm not going to be that person that comes in 6 pounds over the day of the weigh-in. Like, that's not who I am. I was like, look, like, can we do something? Can we negotiate the catch rate and really, really try? And he's like, they're saying no, but just show up anyways. And I'm like, well, you're only paying me a couple $100. Like, are you going to pay me at all when I get, you know what I mean? It was like a matter of like, it just kind of sucked. So that was one of the more frustrating things I dealt with, because I was like, I'm so close to fighting. I wanted to fight. And then the girl had the nerve to be like, call me a chump online. I'm like, oh, jeez. I was like, that made me furious.
Steamed you up.
Something back. I was like, you're the chump. Like, you wouldn't even offer me 2 pounds, like 128 on the dot. It's like, you're the one that's scared.
It sounds, because it sounds like a tactic just to try to drain you out. I mean, but like, isn't it beneficial to like not cut as much weight and do like a catch weight? You would think they would agree to it. Like, okay, cool. You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm drained either way. Like, even at the catch weight, it's like, you know, but I think, you know, it was a tactic. It was her hometown. It was like one of those situations where, you know, it was unfair. Most people would have just missed, you know, and just went in and like, but I never missed weight before. So I was like, shit, like I really, you know, I really would like not want to do that. I feel like it's unprofessional. I hate when people did it to me.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be fair about it. And like I said, that's when they're like, oh, you're a chump, you're this. I was like, dude, like, being professional, I'm telling you what's up. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So, I just am like, well, I guess I'm just only accepting offers at 35 or up to 50 now.
Yeah. Are you looking for like good management and representation, Brooke? Or are you like trying to just do everything on your own going forward? Or are you looking for like a good manager and someone to speak for you?
I have management right now, but it seems like, you know, I haven't had much luck. So I've been kind of doing more of the legwork on my own. But in the future, like, just because, like, I would like to get to know somebody, like, on a personal level and, like, you know, really connect with somebody before they manage me, and, like, build, like, a trusting relationship. So I can see myself, like, in a couple of years, like, willing to do something like that. But as of right now, I'm kind of representing myself. It's helpful, like, you know, to have coaches and teammates that'll, like, put their name out there for you, too, which is what's happening now is, like, right before this happened, I talked to my coaches. They're like, hey, we want to put you on. So I think as of right now, I'm going to kind of keep it at this. But, you know, eventually, like I said, I would like to open it up and see what else is out there. Because when I did sign with my management, I was very, like, new to this whole game and the sport. So it would be nice to kind of, like, you know, see what else is out there. I've seen other people's managers and I've seen people post about their management. So it seems like there's some good people out there.
Yeah, and it'll open up some mental space for you too, where you could just focus on training and getting better. You don't have to worry about negotiating or, you know, going back and forth. And so I wish you know, luck with that. Just a couple of more questions, Brooke. You've been so gracious with your time. I'm so appreciative. So your favorite binge junk food? Do you eat junk food?
Ooh, yes, I do eat junk food. I've actually quit during this quarantine. I got, like, a lot healthier because I was like, it's a slippery slope right now for everybody.
Yep. So
I was like, I went pretty healthy and I've been keeping my weight down. But if I do binge, I really love fries.
Okay.
Like, I love, I'm more of a salty than sweet person. So, like, I, like, just love, like, any type of fries. Like, I could straight up eat, like, sweet potato fries, regular fries, garlic.
Cheese fries.
Just, like, I have a problem with the fries. Like, I love, like, I don't know. It's almost better than the sandwich itself to me sometimes.
Yeah.
I always eat my fries first. And
that's
then I'll
funny.
eat, like, half of my sandwich. And then I'll, like, save for later or something. But I just realized, I'm like, I have an obsession with, like, fries and chips. Like, stuff like that.
Oh, really? Chips? Yeah, I like chips, too. What are your favorite chips? I like sour cream and cheddar. I'm a big, like, microwave popcorn guy, too. I know it's terrible for you, but
There's some healthy ones though. Like I've noticed, like they've been getting more creative with like healthy options, like with microwave popcorns with chips. Like I like Zapp's voodoo chips.
Okay.
Have you tried the voodoo?
I haven't.
Voodoo chips?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, you would love them. Like it's like this tangy. It's like different. Like if you like the sour cream and onion, you probably would like these. I like salt and vinegar chips.
Oh
too.
yeah, those are good too. Yeah.
Super strong taste, but it's like, I don't know what it is. Or like rosemary, garlic. Like,
Oh, those are good. Yeah, those are really good.
Stuff that, like, makes you smoke.
Yeah, back in the day, this sounds gross, but I used to get like a giant one of those like vats or buckets of the cheese balls, and like, you know, just binge watching like I don't know, movies like Twilight Zone or something. Oh man, I like junk food too. Pizza.
Pizza's so good.
You're a big pizza person? That's funny.
Yeah. I love pizza so much. Like pizza, and then like I'm in California, so like obviously like Mexican food, like tacos and burritos.
So good. Yep. Yeah, there's like this awesome taco spot near where I live. They make like real, you know, Mexican tacos. Like, so damn good. So Brooke, so favorite thing to do when you're on your own time in like relax mode? What do you like to do for fun?
Well, this is like so. I'm like really into animals, so like I just love like playing with my dogs, and then I also like I got a bunny and a hamster recently.
That's cool.
During quarantine, I was like, I love animals. Like I want like a tortoise, I want a bunny, I want a hamster. So I ended up getting a hamster and a bunny. Which
That's
my
cool.
fiance was like, "What the hell? It's a zoo in here! Like, stop with the animals."
Yeah.
But I just love hanging out with my animals. Really, like, I don't even really watch TV. Like, I'll just kind of like chill with them, like take them on walks. I do like yoga too, and I like let my dog like mess with me while I'm doing the yoga.
That's funny.
So, like, I like to just like really relax. You know, like sometimes I'll listen to podcasts, you know, but I'm not really like a big TV person. Like I usually am like, it's hard for me to sit still, I've noticed. So like I don't watch a lot of shows and just lay around. Like I'm always like messing with my animals, playing with them, you know.
Yeah.
Always on the move.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm like kind of hyper myself. So like when I was younger, it wouldn't get to me too much, but like it's real. Like the older I get, the more I want to like do stuff, and I feel like I'm wasting my life or time. So like if I binge too much, like it bothers me. It's like I gotta get up and do something. I get like antsy. But
Just train yourself to relax sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Hiking's cool. So it's kind of like a workout, but it's like, you know, you're meditating, you're out in nature. That's another fun thing for me, anyway. So, Brooke, last question or questions. It's a little deep. So, who's been your biggest inspiration for like either BJJ or MMA? Or your biggest, you could touch on both if you want, or your biggest inspiration in life in general?
Oh, this is a good one. Well, like, I obviously, like, Nick and Nate really inspired me a lot, just because, like, you know, they took, like, a really hard path, like, when it came to, like, they didn't take the easy way out ever in their careers, so, like, I definitely can, like, you know, I definitely really am inspired by them and how they train and just how they live their lives. Chuck Liddell really inspired me a lot. Like I just loved his attitude. He was just like such a tough dude.
Absolutely, yeah.
Those fighters, like they really inspired me a lot. And then like my family, honestly, like really inspired me a lot. Like my mom and dad, like they always inspired me because like whatever I wanted to do with sports or with anything, they were just like, hey, like here's how you set your goals, like here's how you get what you want. And they've inspired me a lot to just like be better, you know, like they sometimes I don't always love what they tell me, you know.
yeah, I understand that.
They everyone loves, you know, so
yeah.
I appreciate what they've done for me and like how they've made me tough and how they've made me like, you know, like how they've taught me how to like, you know, just follow through with things and never quit. And then my siblings, like each of them, like were really great athletes and they were really awesome, like in school and anything they ever did. Like my little sister, she just got accepted to Davis, and she's gonna go play soccer over there. So
Wow.
she's working out triple days right now. So she inspires me a lot too. So
To get after it, right?
yeah, like it's just like cool to see, like, you know, I remember when she was a baby until now, like she just turned 18, and she's like, you know, really going for everything and doing all the extracurriculars like leadership and graduating. So it's just like my family's been like a big, you know, inspiration, influence on, you know, who I am and how I conduct myself, like with fighting, for sure.
That's awesome. That's great. You've had that support. Super cool.
Yeah.
So Brooke, that's it. That's all I had for you. I want to just say thank you so much for talking to me. It's been an honor. You're like badass. You're awesome.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you taking the time and like giving me this outlet. It means a lot. So
yeah.
I had a lot of fun talking to you. These are great questions.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But enjoy your day, and I'll send you the link soon, and talk soon, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you.